Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog at stampwithelaine.com. Today's project is this pull-out card. It sort of fits in like that. This comes from the Europeach suite, which you'll find on pages 60 to 61. If you purchase it as a bundle, you'll save 10%. The stamp set is in photopolymer and these are the dies. This one will cut out the leaf and then the peaches are separate, so you stamp them separately and then adhere it to your card base like so. And these are the flowers. I haven't used those, but these leaves and these flowers, you can make up a branch like that. So those are some other samples. This will obviously die cut the peach. They're the flowers. I didn't do the flowers, but then there's a tag here as well for you to put on your words. So for instance, if you want to have a word, you can use those. And there's lots of sentiments. Hello friend, you're as sweet as a peach. Have a peachy day. Happy birthday. Thanks so much. And so on. You can also die cut the leaves, which I've done here. And there are little mini jam jars to go with it. You can't put anything boiling hot in the jars, but you can put sweets or lollies or even embellishments and things like that. The inks I'm using are Calypso Coral, Pale Papaya, Pear Pizzazz and Early Espresso, and you'll also need a Early Espresso marker pen, and this is the Neutrals collection. You'll also need a sponge dauber, circle layering dies, and the ones I'm using are the largest scallop and the second to largest circle and the one below that. I set this circle inside the scallop to create my frame, and now I just notice that I've marked it and dented it, so I would suggest you cut that first and then cut this separately to avoid the damage on your die like I've done on mine. Currently there's 15% off the designer series paper, but only on a selection, and this is one of them, which is the Europeach designer series paper. So this is the front. They're double-sided designs, and I'll just run through them. So let's run through this cardstock you'll need. This measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4, and it's been scored at 4 1/8 and folded in half. In metric, the card will be 14.5 by 21 centimeters long, and you score it with the long side at the top at 10.5 and fold it in half. For the inside of the card, you need a basic white piece. This has been cut at 7.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and on the long side you score at 1 7/8 and 3 3/4, and then it should go in your card like this, and it just folds out like that. We're going to be using the reverse of this piece, which has been cut at 3 3/4 by 5.5. In metric that will be 10 centimeters by 14. Remember to stick it onto your card first. So I'm going to do that. I was making my prototype for this card. I didn't realise that stuck this down upside down. So it was a comedy of errors because I cut the circle before I remembered to stick the designer series paper on. So don't do what I did, do it the proper way. I'm going to take my second largest circle die and I'm going to put it on here like so. That's where I want to cut, so then I know where to glue. Okay, so I'm going to just put glue on the outside of that circle and then glue on the edges. And you want to put the glue a little bit inside, because with Tombow glue it will seep out. And I'm going to make sure my paper's the right way up. The leaf should be pointing upwards, not downwards. Make sure I've centered that onto my project, and then stick it down with a sticky post-it note, and I'll run it through the die cutting machine. But before I do that, I'll run through the rest of the cardstock you need. So for the inside panel here, you want just a tad under 1 7/8 by 5.5. That's because of the score line and the fold here. If you cut it exactly the same width, you might find that a little bit of it juts out. So if you adjust that even before you cut it, then you won't have that happen. Make sure I glue this the right way up. I'm so busy chatting to you, I've put the glue on the wrong side. So never mind, we'll have this. There should be a narrow strip left, and whatever's left over, you can glue it onto the opposite side, just to decorate the inside. Okay, so let's just measure how much that is. It's about 3/8 inches. Now we want to die cut this. So here's your die cutting sandwich. Platform 1, thin die adapter platform 2, base cutting plate, one of the platform 3s, and your cardstock die with die cutting edge face down, your second platform 3, and you're ready to run it through the machine. So keep that because we'll use it for the inside of the card. Now you want to use the same sandwich and cut out your large scallop circle. Put second to largest circle on. Make sure that stays in position and go and cut the center out. Then apply adhesive on the underside of the scallop circle. And adhere it to your card front. Next thing to do is just put the adhesive just on the large rectangle and glue it to the inside of your card, leaving an even border all round. Use a bone folder. Make sure that's down. On this circle you need to put adhesive. Close the card, put the adhesive in here. And fit the circle back into the hole. And press it down, make sure that it's bonded. Okay. Next you want to cut the smaller circle, the one that was smaller than this one, out of basic white cardstock. So I'll go and do that and I'll be back. Now I'm going to do a bit of stamping. So bring in my pale papaya ink and ink up the large peach. Use the Calypso Coral ink. Grab a sponge dauber and dab some Calypso Coral and just highlight a bit there and stamp. Clean the stamp. Now I want to stamp a second peach and make it appear behind this peach in the foreground. So I've stamped this on a post-it note and cut it out inside the peach so that this is smaller than the original stamped image of the peach. I've cleaned my stamp because I'd added Calypso Coral on it. It's contaminated the colour and I don't want it transferring it to my ink pad. So stamp it again. And remove the mask. And save it in your stamp set so you can use it again. It's still good for a few more times. Clean my sponge dauber. Now I'm going to stamp the leaves. So I'm going to stamp that in Pear Pizzazz. I'm going to wipe this branch clean and use the Early Espresso marker with the brush end. It also has a journaling end, and that's a thinner bit that you can write with, and this is the brush end, so it's depicted by a fine line and a thicker line for the brush end. Huff on it to re-moisten the stamp and then stamp here. Clean the stamp again. And I'm going to do the opposite side. Swap ink pads to Early Espresso, and I'm just going to stamp inside the peach. Have a peachy day. Bring in my card, and this time I'll use dimensionals on the back. I'll try and centre that in the middle, leaving an even border all round. Add one of these drops onto the peach here. And voila, the card is finished. So that's not how to make the card, just check that you've got your paper upright. I'll pop that one in like so, so you can see it. So that's your pull out fancy fold card. All the supplies are listed below this video in the show more section. If you haven't subscribed yet, then do subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And if you like it, give me a thumbs up. Also, you can find me at Facebook, Pinterest or Instagram, and if you want to read more about this project, then hop over to my blog at stampwithelaine.com. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll be back soon with more inspiration. Bye!